Hey friends, so today I want to talk about how the scale is a liar. You step on this little box thing in your floor and then you feel like it takes an hour for that number to pop up when in reality it only takes a few seconds, and it just boom, it's like your whole day is either made or ruined. So you either have the same number or you went up or you went down, and your progress just doesn't depend on just the scale. So I'm Carrie and I'm a recovering food addict, and I'm 200 pounds down, and I still have a ways to go on my journey, but I'm gonna get there. And I want to really dive into the topic of this, the scale's a lie, and these non-scale victories. So I know for me, I used to let the scale determine a whole lot of things. So it's weigh-in day and I'm nervous and I'm wondering if I did enough this week, and if what this number is going to say, and if, it's a good number and I'm down, then, I am just on the top of the world and I feel unstoppable. And if the number is the same, or especially if it's down, then I just get filled with self-doubt and I'm so frustrated. I just think, what did I do wrong? Like, what's the problem? What's the issue? So I really let the scale control lots of things, from my mood to the motivation, because like I said, if depending on what the number read on the scale this week, I may be in a super mood, or I may be absolutely miserable to live with because I'm so upset at the fact that I did not succeed at my goal for this week. However, when I got rid of that mentality and kind of ditched the scale as my only way to measure my success, I really started to notice something amazing. So I would make progress in so many other ways that I just didn't even imagine. And so what I want to talk to you about today are these little gems called non-scale victories. And I want to kind of talk to you about, what they are, what a non-scale victory is, kind of the hidden signs of real progress that most people ignore, or maybe not even ignore, but they just don't really think about it, or think about it in that way. Also, how you can track your recovery and your health without obsessing over that number on the scale. And then I want to tell you a few of my own personal non-scale victories and kind of tell you a little story behind that. So if you've ever felt discouraged over that number on the scale and looking at it and feeling like you've just got to, almost like you're a slave to it, then stick with me, because I think that you're going to enjoy this. So I know that when you go to step on that scale, it can feel like this emotional roller coaster, right? Like the scale really doesn't care how hard you work that week, or, it doesn't measure your strength, and it doesn't measure your endurance, or how much better that your body is functioning and feeling. So some of these, things that, I want to talk about that the scale doesn't measure is the fact that when you get on the scale, so much of it is depending on other factors that are really somewhat beyond your control. Like, for example, we all have some water retention from time to time, and that water retention can make a difference on the scale. And literally, you can drink a cup of water and you're going to gain weight. So it's real easy for water fluctuations to happen, and fluid retention, and stuff like that throughout the week. If you've done a lot of strength training or a lot of, movement in the gym like that, then muscle weighs more than fat. So if you've put on any kind of muscle, that can, make that number off. Your hormones. So if you're a woman, when your cycle is going to start, that can throw it off. You've got stress. Any kind of stress can really, really make a difference on the scale. I know I didn't believe that for a long time, but it's really, really true. I have seen it in myself. I've seen it in my husband. It's very dependent. The scale is dependent on stress for sure, and also sleep. Like, that's another one that I just really didn't, believe that, it was a thing. But if you mess up your sleep cycle, or you don't sleep well for a while, or you're having issues sleeping, it can really, really throw off that number on the scale. So one thing that I really think is important is focusing on these non-scale victories, because we can't be a slave to this scale. We cannot be dependent on that thing to know whether we are happy or not. And also, it can be, while it can be a useful tool for maintaining and losing your excess body weight, it is not something that should define you, and it is not something that you should obsess over, and it's definitely not something that is going to always, show your progress for the week. So some examples of that are, if you focus on, let's talk about some hidden signs of progress that you may not realize is going on. So, your food freedom. Think about this. You can walk past junk food without thinking about it or wanting to pick it up and eat it. You're not tempted. You don't feel deprived. You only eat when you're actually hungry, and not when you are stressed or bored or sad or celebrating something. You stop eating when you're satisfied and when you're full. Also, your cravings have changed. So you're craving these high nourishing foods instead of processed junk food. Your vegetables and fruits taste better and sweeter than they used to. And maybe even the idea of that processed greasy food is just no longer something that you even entertain putting in your body. Also, your energy is more stable. You have more of it. You no longer need that afternoon snack pick-me-up. You don't, get that mid-afternoon crash. You wake up feeling, refreshed in the morning instead of exhausted. Like I used to wake up feeling exhausted, even after sleeping for 8 hours or longer. Some emotional wins and mindset shifts. So you've stopped obsessing over your next meal. You are kinder to yourself, and you stop beating yourself up when you have a slip up. You handle your stress better without turning to food, which I think we talked about. And, things like movement feel better, and you have better sleep, and you have better recovery. You have less brain fog, more focus. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your digestive system, all of this improves, and you are feeling, more you. So, you smile more, you laugh more, you feel more alive, you enjoy your life without food. So these are, a lot of signs, that you might ignore or you might not think about are important. And so those are, I just wanted to throw those out there. And so the next thing is how could you track your health and your recovery without obsessing over the number on the scale? And really and truly, you have to make this shift, and it's a mindset shift on focusing on how you feel and how your body is functioning rather than just a number on the scale. So there are quite a few powerful ways that you can do that. Of course, your body physically changing, so you're noticing a physical change in your body. And you can maybe go and buy you an outfit or a shirt or a pair of pants or something that maybe you might not quite be able to fit in, and you can start using that. You could take your measurements. Always, I tell everyone, if you are on any kind of a health journey at all, take lots of videos and photos of yourself. It's so important. You will regret not having those if you don't, because at my heaviest, I did not want to be in front of a camera at all. I didn't want videos or pictures or anything. And my dad said something to me one time that just really stuck with me. And after that, for every time a camera was pointed in my direction, I smiled and I took the picture or the video, because he said, what's going to happen one day when your kids don't have you anymore? And they are looking back at all of these memories, and their mom is missing from all of these pictures and videos and for the family. And it just really struck a chord with me. And I thought, I cannot be that, I can't do that. So, after he told me that, I have since not done that. I make sure that I take pictures and videos as much as possible. And for my journey so far, if I didn't have those, because when I look in the mirror at myself, I still see me at over 500 pounds. So having those pictures is awesome in videos, because I can look back and I can say, oh my goodness. And like, I've had people tell me it gives me chills, and I'm not where I need to be yet, but you know what? It's that big of a difference. So trust me, that is one good thing that you can do to, and you should, to measure progress without worrying about the number on the scale. You could measure your energy levels. So you could get a tracker and you could measure your energy levels. Think about your strength and your stamina. Are you able to walk longer distances? Are you able to stand longer? Can you lift heavier? Are you moving more easily? These are all things that really and truly helped me as well. Maybe you have less joint pain. You can measure recovery, especially by food and cravings. So how's your craving control? Are you thinking less about food? Or are you, making healthier choices more naturally? What about your emotional eating? Do you have that under control? Are you handling stress without turning to food? Here's a good one. Consistency. How consistent are you? Are you staying on track with your eating? Are you, showing up for yourself? Are you, when you make a promise to yourself, are you showing up for you? Are you not breaking promises to yourself? This is important. You have got to, when you make a promise to yourself, when you tell yourself you're going to do something, you have to follow through. That is so important. And sleep and stress. So, are you sleeping better? Do you fall asleep quicker? Do you stay asleep longer? Do you wake up refreshed? Are you feeling calmer? Are you handling your challenges for the day better? And is your anxiety going down? So, some other things might be for mindset and emotionals. So, are you feeling better about yourself? You should be. I hope you are, friend. I hope you are feeling amazing about you. You are so important. Better self-talk. So are you being kinder to yourself? Are you talking well to yourself? Because remember, you are always listening, so you have to be kind to yourself. And do you feel more in control of your choices? So that's really good. And then, of course, standard medical testing and markers, health markers. So is your blood sugar stable? Is your blood pressure good? Is your cholesterol getting better? Is your inflammation being reduced? These are all great things that you can use to track these things without, depending on that number on the scale. So one of the things, focusing on non-scale victories, that you can look at is maybe what are they? So if you don't know, there are things like your body getting healthier, your clothes fitting better, you having more energy, better sleep, less pain, your strength and endurance is up. And these are things really that we should just definitely be focusing on. Now let me tell you a little bit about my non-scale victory. And you are here with me today in the car, and that is the biggest one by far yet for me, because driving for me is so important. It's a stress reliever, so when I get overwhelmed, I love to get in the car and just take a drive because it calms my anxiety and it makes me feel amazing. And so when I got to my heaviest, could not get behind the wheel of the car anymore. And crazy story, my husband and I actually sold one of our cars and got a different one because at the time I could fit in it and drive it. And then we ended up, I outgrew it, or it, I couldn't fit behind it anymore. So we ended up trying to do the same thing. And I just finally told him, I said, you know what? This isn't going to work. You just buy whatever you need to buy, because we can't be buying cars and selling cars based on whether I can get behind the wheel and drive them or not. And it's just really sad when you lose that kind of independence, because then not only was the driving a stress reliever and anxiety reliever for me, but it also made me feel less independent. So now I could no longer go the places that I needed to go when I needed to go them without having someone to take me. And it was so stressful to have to worry, and I felt like a burden. Like, I'm worrying, if I ask if he will take me to the store, will he say yes? And he loves me and he would have said yes. But I felt like such a burden that I felt like I couldn't even ask. Like, I didn't want to put anybody out. So I ended up being home a lot, which wasn't good for my mental health. And it just stripped me of dignity and independence. So it's a really great, wonderful non-scale victory for me to be able to put my own shoes and socks on, because we've talked about this before. There was a time and a place where that was not happening for me. I was not putting, my own shoes and socks on. And so, like today, put my own shoes and socks on, got into the car, buckled the belt without a seatbelt extender. Used to have a seatbelt extender just to ride in the passenger seat. Now I don't even have to have that. I can just buckle the belt and get in the car and drive. And I'm so blessed because I am here at my local walking track, and I drove here by myself and got behind the wheel of the car, and now I'm going to go and I'm going to walk the track. And I couldn't even walk the track. It was, I barely could get up and walk from the living room to the bathroom. And so I'm just so blessed that, I'm able to do this now. So I want you guys to stop focusing on the number on the scale for validation. I want you to see the progress. I know you feel it, but I want you to look for it in your everyday life, because I promise you, friends, it's there. So, that non-scale win really sticks with you so much longer than the number on the scale anyway. And as we talked about, the scale cannot measure how strong you are. It cannot measure the fact that you feel no longer trapped in your body. It cannot measure the confidence that you feel in yourself. And I want you guys to know that it cannot determine if you show up for yourself every single day. And I know that you all are going to show up for yourself. So if you take one thing from this video today, let it be this: you are making progress in ways that the scale will never show. And those, my friends, are the victories that will keep you going on this long, hard journey. So if you're feeling stuck because the scale isn't moving, just take a breath and know you are doing way better than you think you are. So let me ask you, what is your biggest non-scale victory? Drop it in the comments below, because I want to celebrate it with you. And until our next conversation, remember, we are doing recovery together. Bye, friends. I'm going for a walk. Have a great day.